Yeah.
If you do an invitation.
For
Cameras are on. Okay. All right, this is, if you got your, this is city commission meeting for Thursday, July 22nd at 6 o'clock. Tonight, the invocation will be given by Russell Brazil, and I will lead the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you please stand.
Mayor, city manager, commissioners, audience, let us pray. Heavenly Father, as our commissioners gather this evening, may your guiding spirit be guided over them. Guide them through the objects of tonight's meeting, making it clear and decisive. All of their decisions, Lord, that are made are in agreement with you. Heavenly Father, we ask this in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Mayor Litchfield.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Here.
Commissioner Moya.
Here.
Commissioner Gamera.
Here.
Commissioner Arias.
Here.
Okay, next, are there any considerations of changes or deletions to the agenda?
Yes, ma'am. I ask that we remove items 4B, 5A, 5B, and item 6A.
All right, thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as corrected.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as corrected.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Commissioner Gamera.
Yes.
Commissioner Arias.
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes. Next on the agenda is public comments. Citizens that wish to speak during this time must sign up prior to the start of the meeting. Public comments is an opportunity for the citizens to comment on non-agenda items. This is not for discussion or questions and answers. Citizens will be given 3 minutes to speak. And first on our agenda tonight is Mr. Robert Vargas. Yes, right up here.
Shannon.
I don't know if it's the green light on.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robert Vargas. I'm here today. I just wanted to bring, attention. We had a situation, the way the Tucumcari PD handled the situation that happened with my son on July 7th. He was with his girlfriend. Her parents live in Santa Rosa. They drove down from Santa Rosa. They pulled out a gun on him, attempted to go in his house. PD arrives there. They don't detain anybody. They don't seize the weapon. The weapon's in her possession for 26 minutes. And she's allowed to go in her pickup where the gun is at. She's sitting in the pickup where her gun's at. It's in her purse. At one time, one of the officers even asked for her ID. She says, it's in my purse with my gun. He just says, is it loaded? Let me see your ID. Gives it back to her. So this whole time I'm asking them, how come they haven't seized the gun? So I work in house. So I was driving back and I asked to talk to one of the officers. So I spoke with Justin Garcia and I asked him how come they hadn't detained or seized the weapon. And they didn't do anything until, and you can see this on the video, he gets off the phone with me, hands the phone back, then they go seize the weapon. The whole time they didn't control the scene. She walked up, tried to go into my son's house. My wife had to push her out and tell her back up. At another point too, she threatens my mom, says, I'm gonna break your effing hip. Nothing was done. Nothing at all was done in this situation.
Okay.
It was downplayed to the DA. I mean, it's all on video. I broke down the video. I've watched it several times. And just the mistakes that were made, and they're training other officers like this. Now, I'm pro-police. I'm not anti-police, but in this situation, it was messed up drastically. I called the next day on July 8th, spoke with Chief or Deputy Chief Rivera. He said that he was going to transfer it to Sergeant Slade and he would handle it. Slade called me that evening, said that he was gonna handle it, he'd get back to me in a couple days. I haven't heard anything back. I called again Monday, left Pete Rivera a voicemail. From my understanding, he might have been at training or something like that, but I tried 3 times to contact Mark. I left 3 voicemails. I called Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I tried to swing by here, but I guess after 2, you guys, the city hall's not open.
Right.
And then at the end, they actually give her back the gun. They give her back the weapon. She calls us cop callers, takes off. So that whole time, they put my family in danger. She could easily came back and did something with it. They allowed my 7-year-old daughter on scene. They allowed my mother. They did not control the scene whatsoever. And I have the video, and I wish I could go over with one of you just to show you tons of mistakes that were made.
Thank you. And if you will get with me, I would like to see the video with you sometime.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Okay. Next is Ms. Teresa Russell.
Hi.
Hi.
So my issue right now is, so I live on the north side at public housing, and our grass hasn't been cut for a long time, long time. And right now we have a problem with spiders. I've already been bit. Luckily my kids haven't been there for 2 months. But also another thing is maintenance doesn't do their daily drive-by. Like, they used to do a drive-by at 7:50 to 8 every morning. Oh, can you hear me?
You cut out again? That is maybe with it.
It keeps turning red.
Did you hear her on that?
It's just red, it's not.
It's a red light.
We won't make you stop. I mean, we'll give you the extra time.
Oh, did you hear what I said?
Oh,
No?
good, yeah.
We could hear you, the people on the radio wouldn't be able to.
Oh, okay. So do I need to repeat myself?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Give us just a second.
Okay.
Technology is good when it works, and it's not when it doesn't.
Amen.
Okay, yeah, all right. Looks like.
She's talking about, well, they all.
Okay, can you hear me? Oh, now I can hear me. Okay, so my issue is, the grass on, public housing on the north side. I don't know about any other place around town, but the north side looks like a jungle, pretty much. And, yeah, there's a lot of spiders. Also, a lady died over there. I don't know her name, but it was next to Miss Sylvia Laredo. And, so I guess the kids went and put her stuff outside the apartment instead of moving the stuff or giving it to, Ministry of Hope. And so it stayed there for a week. And like I said, maintenance didn't do their daily drive-by from 7:50 to 8 in the morning. And so I pretty much took it into my own hands to go throw everything. So I dumped like 7 bags of trash. And finally I stopped when I seen a frog jump out and a spider, and I was like, like, I'll let them get the rest, but it's still outside there. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, they're just not taking care of the property.
Can I with you?
Yes,
Isn't that the Eastern Regional?
Yes,
That's what we
it is.
take care of there.
Yeah, it's the one that took it away from us.
yeah. We don't have any control over it anymore, but maybe we can, some way or another,
Okay.
get hold of the housing.
Actually, we have to have, actually, because of the weeks of sites they are and the junk that they have all over, it looks like an abandoned, dilapidated project. We
Mhm.
have to have code
looks like
enforcement
Houston.
over there and they can send us. I don't understand, all the projects are looking nasty.
Mhm.
Very nasty.
The one thing I can do, like the mayor stated, the city no longer oversees the housing program. But what I can do, I still have some contacts with Eastern Regional. I could either reach out to the local office on behalf of the city or reach out to the regional office in Roswell, for Eastern Regional, and ask if maybe they could get more staff or what they can do to try to clean up these nuisance properties if there's weeds at all.
But with a normal person, we would give him a citation or make him clean it. Why can't code enforcement
Well,
do
if
the
it's-
same thing?
If it's nuisance, we typically try to give them the opportunity to remedy the situation.
The retail.
I agree with that.
Well, they're high in my neighborhood too.
Yeah, but the whole deal is we go after the private person. There shouldn't be no reason why we shouldn't go after public housing.
And I agree with that, but I know previously we set the precedence as the city and the commission that we want to at least try to give them a verbal or a written warning before we go straight to a citation. So I mean, if we choose to do that, that's fine as long as we're consistent, but I would like the opportunity to try to reach out to Eastern Regional and have them cleaned up.
Yeah, if they could just like take care of it, that would be great because, like it hasn't been taken care of in months. And they used to spray for bugs also, and they don't do that either. And I mean, like the previous housing employees that were there, they took care of it really good.
This is what I was worried about.
Right, right.
And I mean, like I said, I got bit by a spider. Luckily, my children have been gone for 2 months during the summer. So, yeah, I'm just glad they didn't get bit.
Well, thank you. And Mark will, he'll talk to Vicky.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
I don't think Vicky's there.
Okay.
But I could reach out to Eastern Regional to see if they can provide staff from other locations. We talked about that in the transition.
Yeah, they said they would do that.
Exactly, so I want to make sure they're coming through on what Ken stated.
Well, they can contract somebody to go do it. It looks really, those projects look nasty.
And across from where one of my businesses is the same way.
Well, there's a house on my neighborhood that the weeds are like waist high.
But remember, we gave them $800,000, and there's no excuse why they can, that $800,000 is savings, they can use it to fix,
Right.
clean, and everything. It's not like a local person who's on a fixed income. We gave them money, they should be able to do it.
Correct, that's something within their realm that if they have a shortage of staff, they have the funds available to contract out.
Yes, and we gave them plenty of money.
And Robert, can you send the video to my phone? Can you send it to me?
Yes, ma'am, I got it on a thumb drive at my house, but,
I'll give you my information after the meeting.
okay.
All right, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. This is approved by a single motion. Any member of the commission may request an item be transferred to the regular agenda from the consent agenda without discussion or vote. And tonight, we would be approving the special commission meeting minutes for July 1st, planning and zoning commission meeting minutes for February 23rd, and the Pure Elegance Car Club Park use permit. Excuse me, permit. Do I have any questions or comments on any of the items we need to approve?
Glad to see that Pure Elegance is having a car show again.
Me too. So I would entertain a motion.
Is that your way?
Okay. Okay.
I'll second.
I have a second. All right. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Moya?
Yes.
Commissioner Gadova?
Yes.
Commissioner Arias?
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is new business. It's under number 7 on the back. Joint powers agreement governing the Clay County Regional Emergency Communications Center.
Yes, ma'am, I'll be presenting that. This is the JPA we have with the multiple entities. The majority of it's staying the same. As discussed previously, 45% of the cost for the dispatch is paid by the county. An additional 45% is paid by the city, and the remaining 10% is broken up between the other entities listed in here. That includes the village of Logan, the village of San Home, the village of House, and
Isn't it Harding County too?
Harding County is also part of this. I don't believe they're part of the JPA, at least not the voting members. They're listed on page 2 of the JPA, and it shows there's one member designated from the city as whether it's a commissioner or the city manager. We have the city manager. We also have the police department and fire department represented by the city. You have the county, and then, as mentioned, like you said, they still dispatch for that, but I believe that contract's separate. Can you speak to that, Sheriff? They're outside of this as far as voting members, correct?
Correct.
And we also have the Mexico State Parks, which was a separate.
Now, as the sheriff can attest to, we have a lot of calls that go out to colleges.
Correct.
Does San Miguel, have you got where San Miguel's gonna start picking up some of this? Because I know you get called out there because the other sheriff, well, at least at one time, didn't want to drive that far.
There has been a new sheriff elected to there, and he said no. If there is something that is pressing that goes on out there, he will contact me. We'll send a deputy if need be. But since the election 2 years ago, we have not had any calls there. The only other thing that is called out there is Rosebud Ambulance and Fire, and they are dispatched by them. A little added to that, the Harding County Sheriff is not a voting member, although he does contribute $25,000 to the dispatch center.
And the Mexico State Parks also contributes monetarily, right?
Correct.
I thought they had their own deputy, because we own property and they used to always have a trailer house with a deputy there.
Who's that? The San Miguel?
They did, that was many, many years ago.
Well, I don't go out there, we still got it, but I don't go out there in the water.
No, the previous sheriff under Gary Gold, who was that, he did away with that. Now they just, during roll call, they issue somebody out there or assign somebody out to conscious. Yes, sir.
I know during the summers, the Corps of Engineers contract with the state police to have patrol out there. But in regards to dispatch, like the sheriff stated, they haven't had any calls out there in 2 years.
All right, so I would entertain a motion to approve the joint powers agreement.
I'll make a motion that we approve the joint powers agreement between the TQREC and the city of Tucumcari.
Do I have a second? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Villalobos,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is extension agreement between the city of Tucumcari and Plateau Telecommunications regarding temporary placement of cell on wheels cows.
That's what they reference it as a cow. So to give you an update, this is something we had previously approved during the pandemic. Of course, everybody was at home and working from home, going to school from home. There was quite a bit of demand on their wireless system. So to provide some better customer service and allow the kids to go to school and for those to work as needed, the city had previously granted it. It currently sits at the old landfill site. And since it's working out so well, they are very pleased with it and they'd like to extend this to the end of the calendar year. At that point, they are potentially interested in building some kind of permanent site. It's not a huge tower like you see for the cell phones, but it's similar in size to what I noticed when there's one on Lake Street, I believe Rock Island, it just helps boost the signal. With that be stated, I think we'd have to come back, say at the end of this agreement, and if there's to be a permanent structure, we have to do a little bit more talking and potentially some kind of a lease agreement. I know at the time, the commission did not ask for any compensation due to it helping students and businesses, their employees, so they can work from home. It was a benefit to the overall community, but I would recommend the next go round, if it does come to a permanent structure, we talk some kind of lease agreement as far as being compensated. And with that, this would be extended through the end of the calendar year, December 31st, and ask for your approval.
Any questions or comments? I would entertain a motion to approve this extension agreement.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the extension agreement between the city of Tucumcari and Plateau Telecommunications.
I'll second.
All right, roll call, please.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Commissioner Villalobos.
Yes.
Next is, are we gonna do items from commissioners first?
I just
See the manager,
What did I do?
It has
Oh,
city
do I have a
commissioner
new one?
comments. Online it says commissioner comments first. and
Yeah,
city manager.
right.
My defense, I got a new mouse and it's really, really fast. It just drags stuff around.
So do we wanna go city manager's report first?
Yes.
Okay, city manager.
Thank you. So first and foremost, I'd like to express my condolences to Commissioner Moya and his family, in the recent passing of his brother. Our thoughts and prayers from our family go out to yours. Also, I'd like to just express, I guess, to the general public, on why we removed some of the items from tonight's commission meeting. It was supposed to be in discussion of the budget. We are still on track to get this approved within our deadlines through DFA. We have had quite a few events in the past couple of weeks that have prolonged this. On Friday, just so people are aware as well, our internet server, for our website as well as our email server completely went down late Thursday night, early Friday morning, so that has complicated things. It's been locked up. We cannot retrieve emails. Prior to that, people are strictly using the system called RoundCube. If you had it downloaded to your PC, you are lucky enough to hopefully have some of those emails remaining going back. We have contracted with Plateau previously, and part of that agreement, they're helping us right now try to recover some of that information from that server. We're hoping to get that pushed out. In the interim, we have been working diligently this week to finally restore emails to key staff first, and then we'll branch out to the rest of the city. That started, I believe, on Tuesday. So that's been quite burdensome, obviously. You don't realize how important email is until something like that happens. And also for some other reasons, there's some shortage in staff. Michelle's been busy having to do payroll as well as billing, as well as disconnects. I mean, you name it, it's been quite lengthy. She did finish the bar today, so I wanted y'all to know that. I'll let her explain that. It ended up favorable. We're looking good. We'll discuss that next Tuesday. But that's the reason why we pulled some of the financial stuff. Just wanted to clear it out there. Also, I do have an update on the cemetery. As expressed last meeting, unfortunately, due to the heavy rains, which we much needed, there were some safety issues out there. Those have been remedied. I'd like to thank the Parks and Cemetery for the hard work. They've actually, everything was completely mowed and looking good, but with that rain as it continues, the weeds are coming back up again. Please be patient with us. That department, those two departments have numerous city properties they're responsible for. They start pretty much on a list. They start a rotation at one office and continue on through the whole city. By the time they get to the end of that list and have to start over again, everything is overgrown. So the city, we are trying to do our part in keeping things beautified and make sure we're keeping things under control. The other thing at the cemetery, we do have the pump. The Moss and his crew have been working to try to get everything installed and get that in as soon as possible. I may have caused a delay this time by 2 or 3 weeks. We had some old fittings. We had new fittings, but some old pipe and whatnot. So based on water department's recommendation as well as mine, we agree that it's best to do it once and do it right and spend a little bit more money on the appropriate parts to make sure it's going to last. Those parts are special made, unfortunately. It takes 2 or 3 weeks to get in. So the soonest we have that is 2 to 3 weeks. But I feel it's only appropriate to invest our money and do it right once and not have to go back and fix some old fittings. The next thing with the cemetery, once we get that installed, as discussed previously, we anticipate numerous leaks. That line has not been pressurized in quite some time. So I've also authorized the Moss to start looking into and pricing new valves to go to the sprinkler system. So again, we are working on these things. Please be patient. I'd like to go next to some of the issues where roads have washed out or potholes have been terrible lately with the rain. When our pothole machine was down, the hot patch machine, that's the best way to remedy these potholes. It lasts a lot longer when you have quite a bit of rain. When we just put millings, gravel, whatnot, just as a temporary fix, those wash out quite quickly, so we want to avoid that. That being said, everything is backlogged because of the weather and the rain, so please be patient. We have quite a few of the work orders for potholes. It is a first come, first served basis. The process does work. The process is to call into City Hall, place a work order, and once that has been completed, our crews will get out there as soon as they can. There are times when things happen, people are out with illnesses, they have vacation. I mean, we have to respect that of our employees as well. And they are out there. The process is working. I had one complaint that the road was quite bad. I went out, drove around, and looked at it, and I was notified today by our street superintendent it has been fixed. He also noted that there was another location that was fixed. So again, we do what we can within our budget with our staffing, but we do hear the concerns and we do look into them. And with that, Mayor, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is items from commissioners. Commissioner Arias?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have too much tonight. I just want to, something that we brought up before, I brought it up, Commissioner Villanueva brought it up before as well. There was an incident on Rock Island of someone speeding down the road, and certainly while the argument he made, the dog shouldn't have been in the street. I think it's unfortunately just a matter of time if we don't start tackling the speeding down Rock Island before someone is seriously hurt. With the interim chief Rivera coming in, hopefully we can work with the police department to get some extra patrols down on Rock Island. But I think ultimately the biggest solution is if we could start looking at other forms of funding for a traffic study to see if it doesn't warrant getting potholes, not potholes, stop signs or speed bumps.
Speed deterrence devices.
Yeah, speed deterrent devices, there we go.
Drive the road to the golf course, that'll slow you down.
Yeah, so certainly I if we can be proactive on this and prevent someone from getting hurt on Rock Island. It's getting pretty bad down there.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Want to thank Mr. Vargas and Mrs. Russell for coming up and speaking. You know, it takes a lot sometimes to stand in front of the commission and voice your concerns. I had somebody contact me and they're curious because the state mandate came out with the alcohol sales changing on Sunday. And they were wondering, they went to the county sent them to us. And they're just wondering how the commission feels about the sales going on at 7. They feel it should either be canceled on Sunday or stay at noon. And I'm bringing this up for the commission. If other people want to elaborate on it at a later time, you know, I'm more than willing to.
So that was alcohol sales can begin at 7?
No, it already now does. When it came out with the new legislation, alcohol sales, you can no longer buy the little minis.
Right.
And you can now sell at 7 a.m.
On
Instead of
Sunday.
noon On Sunday.
So it used to be you, correct?
It used to be noon. And there's a few citizens that would rather see it not sold on Sunday or go back to 12 o'clock. And I guess they had cited that McKinley County had voted to keep it the same as before and was wondering if we could do the same thing. I know we can't.
I know there's a lawsuit on McKinney.
Yeah,
There's a lawsuit right now in McKinney County.
but I'm bringing this
Liquor.
up from concerns of citizens.
Yeah.
My next, a couple of old business items. Broom factory, has it been cleaned up? Have we reached out and the guys now mowing the grass again? Before I hear something.
I have not passed by there. I will look into that.
Okay, we've got a new city attorney.
Correct.
Are they working on a vote?
No.
No. Have you floated away?
You know, I just want to see it taken care of, because us as a commission did say we want to see this go through. I've noticed a lot of people are starting to get letters from their insurance companies saying their rates are going up. Can we kind of enlighten what's going on and why some of them may be getting letters to that effect?
Briefly, I'm not going to comment on it too much because I had a meeting with the state fire marshal's office on Monday, the interim chief and I do, Casey Mackey. So an ISO inspection was conducted, I believe, nearly 4 years ago. This is something that happens every 5 years. And in doing so, there's a whole criteria that is factored into that to get that ISO rating. So as it stands right now, we are retroing back from a level 4 down to a level 5. So with that, and that's what I'm getting at. I'm gonna get the specifics from the fire marshal's office and look at the ISO report to see exactly what it was, but there's been rumors around, it's just because we had fire hydrants that had bags on them. That's not the case. It's a whole broad spectrum of things. Anything from they rate your dispatch, they rate response times, they base it on training, on your staff that you have at the fire department, response times, you name it, there's a whole bunch of things, water supply. So it's not just a handful of things, it's a whole broad spectrum. Again, I don't want this to be pinned on the current interim chief. It was out of his hands. This is something that stemmed from, like you said, about 4 years ago. We have improved recruitment. We're starting to get people back again involved in the department. And it's not so much just recruiting people, it's also having those recruits or those volunteer firefighters respond. This next go round, we should be inspected again, I believe, next year, the year after. I'll have to double check on that. We have a chance to go back and retain our force. A lot goes into it, hose testing, ladder tests, training for the firefighters, and you name it, there's a lot. The status of your apparatus. We have that used ladder truck, but if it doesn't have all the requirements and safety requirements and up and running and have everything the way it should be, that also damages it. So there's a lot more to it than just certain things. I'll comment on it more later. Again, I was supposed to meet, and I was hoping to have something by tonight. I was going to meet with representation from the State Fire Marshal's office last week. They canceled on us. So hopefully they don't cancel on us again. We are scheduled for 10 o'clock on Monday night.
Okay. I appreciate that. I know you and I have talked about it. I think it's important that sometimes the citizens hear things like that so they understand that it's not just something that the city's doing just to try to upset people.
Correct. The letter's a bit misleading. It doesn't go into the detail on time, and there's pages and pages of things that you have to.
It almost makes it sound like we're uninsurable, like Tucumcari is an uninsurable town.
No,
you know?
negative. We're
Right.
definitely insured. We just may have to pay a little bit
Yeah.
more. And I promise I'd say this actually. There was a structure fire yesterday, and I like to give kudos out to the fire department. It was a great save. And I heard that we were getting positive feedback all the way as far as Colorado. So that is great. and I appreciate that.
I'm not gonna say names. I had an individual come to me. He had actually had a house fire quite some time back. And you may have finally reached out to him, I don't know. But he had his water shut off, I guess, due to the fire. He didn't shut it off from what he was saying the city did, and now they're charging him $200 to turn it back on.
I'll have to.
Does that sound like a familiar? I'm not gonna say no names over there.
No, we could talk. Okay. I'm not aware of that.
All right, the last thing was, I've said this for years, since I've become a commissioner. You never know who you're talking to out there in the, people passing through. It can be somebody that's looking to start a new business. About a year and a half ago, an individual's Jeep blew an engine coming through Tucumcari. And he stopped in, a local mechanic helped him out, got his Jeep off the road. Of course, the Jeep was not usable anymore. He had a friend coming from California, all the way from California to pick him up and then take him back. And he was allowed to sit in a restaurant for quite a few hours waiting on his friend. During that time frame, we got to talking and I introduced myself, and he enjoyed Tucumcari so much and how the hospitality was. Turns out this guy's in a filming type industry. So he's been hired by a wind energy company to go around and do feel-good videos of New Mexico. And they gave him all the places he wanted to go, and he said he was only gonna do it if he can come to Tucumcari first. So Monday, I'll be giving the guy a tour like I promised him before I knew who he was. If he ever came back, I was gonna give him a tour of Tucumcari, show him what Tucumcari is about. So you never know what's gonna happen. This guy's not asking money from the city. He's doing this for his client. The client's paying for all of it, and he's gonna come do several. So if you see a drone flying around, he's already picked out some businesses he wants to go talk to. He wants me to just show him everything up to the lakes, the museums, and everything else. It's little things like that that I've always had faith that Tucumcari has. We've got it. We just always got to be mindful that if we don't know the person, we need to pump Tucumcari up, not tear it down. This is a lot better community than what a lot of people want to take credit for. That's all I got for you.
Okay, Commissioner Moya. And before you talk, I'd also like to extend my sincere sorry about your brother
Thank
and Al's Bernadette. Well, bless her heart.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Vargas and Mrs. Russell. To be honest with you, I had gotten a lot of complaints from public housing. I'm glad that Mrs. Russell came before the commission today to bring it up before the council to make us more aware of it. It is really sad because when we transferred the property over to Eastern Housing, that was one of the things I told them that I gave up, that the city, I was very proud of the fact is that the city of Tucumcari kept those houses looking like nice apartments, and I did not want them looking like a project. And now they're really beginning to look like a project. They even look empty. I don't know if people even live in them anymore. They're really nasty. I mean, I'm really disgusted with the fact is that, we have the north side that is really I mean, the weeds are like almost 2 feet tall. They're really tall. I don't even see kids around. There's all kinds of junk outside the homes. When we had it, we make sure nobody put sofas or anything outside. It's really looking like a project. I don't know if that's the image they want to portray, but they were saying the city of Kerry wasn't doing a good job. But I tell you one thing, we sure kept it nice. People that lived there had a nice, respectable yard, as well as the apartment were well kept. And when they got them, they were in top condition. When we also transfer was $800,000 that can be utilized for whatever they want to, and they can use those $800,000 to get contract people to do the work. And there's no reason why those projects look the way they do. The reason I said that the city should send a notice to them, and I know we should be working with them. I'm sure that they're not blind, and I'm sure they know how bad they are, and I'm sure the residents are complaining. And I think the only thing you're gonna understand is the fact it's a good letter, and then start the process. Because it's not like a poor person doesn't have money. When we gave them that much money and a very well-balanced budget, there's no reason for them to not keep that maintenance up. And the one thing I really get angry is the fact is that the taxpayers pay awful good money for those apartments, for those people who live in a distant environment. The other thing is, Mr. Vargas, thanks for coming before us and making aware of us, of what's happening over there. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, I feel confidence in the new chief of police, because I have had a lot of difficulties in the past. Even right now, we're still struggling with trying to get a report that we have to file. But I think, I feel very confident on our new chief of police that we have. I feel he has the right attitude. I think if we work with him, I believe we're gonna go in the right direction. He's taking over a department that's gonna be a lot of work for him to put together, and also to get more or less what the community needs or wants. So I've got a lot of hopes and everything for that department, and I'm very sorry that this happened with you, and hopefully we can correct it. Thank you. The other thing I'd like to point out is, we talked about this, and this is very important. We talked about getting a grant writer. This is very, very important right now, especially at this point in time. The American Rescue Community Support Project, which will be sending money down. I've been talking to the congressional people, the federal congressional people. And I've been asking them that I want to know, when they send down the money, how much is allocated for Coy County, because we were included in that. And a lot of it will be for the infrastructure of the community. There'll be a lot of money for that. There also will be, there's also infrastructure money for also water. Don't forget, we got our 6,000 acre feet of water in Ute Lake. Maybe we can do something. There's gonna be a lot of money. I really wanna be very, we need, and we talked about this, the commission did here. This is our opportunity. Let's get a grant writer. Let's get a grant writer so we can tap into this. This is what happens. This type of money, the Corona money, everything comes in. We don't have grant writers. We have grant writers, but the poor grant writers are really trying to just keep up with what we are pretty much guaranteed, which is very, very important, and we have to do an annual. We got excellent grant writers, I'm not saying that, but we need extra help in that department, especially now with this type of the American Rescue Plan coming in. Because I'm sure we're gonna get quite a lot for Coy County, and the congressional people said they will let us know how much money will be allocated for these counties so we can tap into it.
So I have an update on that, Commissioner. I failed to mention in my report. I'm glad you brought it up. So I do have a proposed plan to that. It wouldn't be just a grant writer. It would be a broader scope to help with more items throughout the city, but focusing on grant writing as well. I will be pitching that to the commission next Tuesday at the budget meeting. I also want to elaborate on American Rescue Funds. I had overlooked that. It's been a busy week, but nonetheless, I had a conversation with DFA in regards to the American Rescue Plan funding. The city specifically will receive $1.197 million. That is specifically earmarked for specific things stated. And with that, the main request at the time from the city was infrastructure. That primarily will go through the KOA lift station, which is failing. Some of that line coming in from there, from where they left off in the Bug property coming into the west. We also, another thing I failed to mention, we had an emergency pressure main, wastewater pressure main bust, which cost us $58,000. So these are all things that contribute to the headache. And with that being said, I think my proposal, I hope the commission receives it well, but I do have a plan on trying to be a little bit more efficient help with grant writing as well.
Yeah, I think we need to focus on it. I think we're at a crisis level with our streets and that, there's so much potholes, it's awful.
The American Rescue Plan funding too, Commissioner, I did find out that we will not get that amount in one lump sum. Based on the letter I received, once my email was back up and running, we did have it was stated in the letter that we will receive about half of that upfront within the next 30 days, but we will not receive the second half for at least 12 months. So we're gonna have to be very creative. There's at least 2 main projects that I'm concerned about, possibly 3 on the infrastructure side. We may not even have enough funds to cover those 3. It's the KOA lift station, gravity and pressure line coming in towards the west. The other is an emergency water line that has to be bored underneath the railroad tracks to go to the north side. And the third is some rehabilitation of the water tanks on the Lennon Street by the elementary.
According to the congressional people, they seem that the infrastructure is gonna be a lot more money available. And they said, but you're gonna have to write for the grant. And I know what the part you're talking about, the American Rescue part, because we discussed with them. And so, if we can, let's go ahead and look at the grant writer and see if we can, that position can be open or something, the sooner the better. Because we really cannot, we don't have the money to do as much work as we need in this community. The infrastructure in this community is pretty bad. Thank God we have lived through a lot of grants to have our treatment plan and some other areas done, that we're in good shape because we did the grant writing in the old days. But we certainly have to look at that. And that's about all I'm gonna say on that. But I also want to say another thing is that, bring up, and that is the thing that we have dropped. I think the COVID is over. I really like to pick up what we left on the Odeon Theater. Mayor, you had a task force. I'd like to see that task force reconvene.
The Odeon or the Princess?
The Princess, the Odeon is private owned, the Princess is ours. It's our mess.
Okay.
We need to work on it. There's been people that are expressed interest. Maybe we'll have a better task force. I think the Princess Theater can bring a lot of attraction to downtown. I noticed that some of our black glass is gone from the front of that theater. I don't know if somebody just took it or broke or what, but it's gone.
Okay.
So we need to get back on it. Maybe there'll be I know there'll be some grants now with the infrastructure coming in, because it's for a lot of good projects. So let's see if we can do that. Let's see, and the other thing is, I'm glad to hear that the Tucumcari Lake is getting back up. I think we need to take a big interest as a city, work with whoever is working on this Tucumcari Lake. That will be one heck of an attraction for us, because you should see the water lake up in, all the lake water in Santa Rosa. I have a home there, and it's amazing how much people come out there. Of course, they have that big park lake, but they also have other areas where they go just tourists, and as well as, Santa Rosa doesn't have that kind of population to fill up that lake, but you can't even find a parking space down there, That's quite a lot up there. So we really need to get on it and see how we can do and support whoever's working on this Tucumcari Lake. We did a lot in the 80s. We almost had to complete it. I know that when I ran, I used the Princess Theater and the Tucumcari Lake, and there was a couple and we got into a little scuffle on the newspaper, which some people, and it all came out of the economic development people. It's amazing enough, here's the economic development people, and they're goofing on me on the thing, but it's becoming a reality, so it's not that much to be goofed about anymore. It's a good money-making thing. And so I want to see if we can start working, whoever's in charge, have the city be involved with that. I know that Miss Alliance has taken an interest in it, I think, and so and I don't mind being involved with that.
Yes, sir. We have been having meetings off and on since previous to at least more than a year ago. Myself from the city as well as the county has representation arbitrarily. We work with the Mexico Game and Fish, the Audubon Society, Ducks Unlimited. I mean, there's a lot of key stakeholders that are coming to the table. I also had a chance to meet with the college president, I believe 2 weeks ago, and he's also very interested. We're talking about implementing some kind of research type base out of Mesa Lands that they could get involved with that. So it's gaining a lot of steam. I'm really excited. It seems positive and we're moving forward. So we're definitely involved with that.
Now, that was really a big thing in the 80s. We had done a lot of work on it. You know, I mean, even a library was being looked into in that area because of the bird sanctuary. And don't forget, we own some water. We've got 6,000 acres in New Lake, and then we have, 556 acres of water rights out of our Charlotte that we can also utilize there. So those are a lot of economic areas that we can look in, that actually can attract other people to stay overnight and things to do. And that's a big lake. That's a nice lake, you know. It has a lot of potential. The other thing is, I like to remind the citizens of Tucumcari that please be careful with the COVID. Those who have not been vaccinated, please get vaccinated if you. I'm sure we have areas that we can get vaccinated. I don't want to go into restrictions. I kind of enjoy not using my mask, and now I'm getting conscious about it and started using it again, you know. And so, to be honest with you, because I don't want to see Tucumcari with old numbers or anybody in Tucumcari die from the fact is because of the COVID. And there's plenty of places in Tucumcari you can get your COVID shot, and there's no reason why people shouldn't go get it. And especially now with the Delta virus, it has a lot more strength in it, and those who are being vaccinated at least are able to do okay. They still get it, but not that many anymore like they used to. And so that's all I have, but I really would like to encourage everybody to take that Corona shot and let's move forward and have it taken care of with less numbers and no more restrictions. I don't think I could handle any more. Thank you. That's it.
Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes, I want to give my condolence to Mr. Moya and his family. Mr. Vargas, I'd like to see that video if you have a chance. I apologize for what's going on, no? And that's not really it.
All right, I have several things. Mr. Vargas and Ms. Russell, thank you again for coming public speaking. Thank you for our police officers that are here tonight. We appreciate that. Also, too, I would like to tell everybody that the ring tournament is going on this weekend at the golf course, and they usually bring in 50 to 70 teams. So we will have people in town, but I'm really embarrassed about the road that they're gonna have to drive to get to the golf course, because I went out there twice this last week.
So another update, I haven't had the opportunity to go out and golf in a while, but I've been in, it's horrible. So as discussed in previous meetings, as part of our cooperative verbal agreements, the county's been willing to help us out. We received milling specific for that project. We had to have a specific project. The county's agreed to provide manpower as well as the equipment to help us with that, which I think is awesome to have that collaboration between the city and the county. The only holdup on getting that fixed, or else it would have been done by now, the county has to take care of the road that they're working on first, and as soon as that's done, we will be working on that.
Another thing too, on Sunday night at the Motel Safari at 7 o'clock, it's called the Pasadena Poets, and it's an American motel tour, and they're in Las Vegas, Nevada tonight. And tomorrow they'll be in another place in Nevada, Saturday in Kingman, Arizona. But Sunday night they'll be at the Motel Safari, and they'll be out on their patio where there's a campfire type thing. And so everybody's invited to come down and listen to them. And it's just another thing going on 66 that's bringing us. We impressed the tour group from Route 66 with, they got a gift bag from the Clay County, I guess from the chamber, from Main Street, from Watson's, and then I had given each one of them a little Route 66 pin. I mean, they said that we were the only one that even had people from the city that came out and welcomed them. In all the other towns they had stopped in, nobody came and welcomed them. So they all were so impressed with Tooth and Carry, and they want to come back.
Good.
So, they said this was the largest crowd they had had, well, on their tour, and I said, well, it's because they were gonna eat at Watson's.
I apologize for this, that's when we had our emergency.
Right,
sewer.
right, I know that, but anyway, also too, let's see, I had something else written down, what it was, oh, I did have a phone call about, the 600 block of Jackson yesterday. There's a couple of houses over there, and I drove by today that, they're really concerned because they look like hoarders are living there. I mean, they've got blankets hung over the front porch, and, I mean, it looks really bad. But do we still have a nuisance ordinance officer?
We do. So until we have the budget meeting next week, we'll ultimately decide. I still am proposing to have a combination of animal control and code enforcement. It's been working in Farwell, Texas, and Lovington, smaller cities, it does work. It's, again, I have a few proposals we'll talk about, but we do have a code enforcement officer, and she has been picking up some of the animal control. She's been out at the kennels cleaning and doing an amazing job. I was out there today working on some of the email situation with the lab and the wastewater plant. And she's doing a good job.
All right, because I know the yards around town are looking pretty bad, but it's because, a lot of it's because of the rain. I know, like I say, in my neighborhood, there's one house that the weeds are as high as my waist. So, and you can just drive around a lot of the empty lots, and they're looking pretty bad. I hope we can do something about the Kentucky Fried Chicken building. It looks really bad, but I don't know.
Windows are starting to get busted out there.
Yeah, so, yeah, Took and Carry in. Oh, gosh. So we need to get that owner cited.
I agree.
Okay,
That's why we'll
I think the Jim Carrey and they were clean that time.
Were they?
Yeah.
Okay.
yes, sure.
On the lawn, the guy wanted to buy any horse sign. Have we got an answer on it?
So that's still part of the appraisal process. Before we can do that, we have to get it appraised. I actually signed off on the PO today. Again, everything has been delayed, unfortunately, due to the email server. All in hell because the emails were lost prior to Tuesday when it's back up again. So
No, the reason I brought it up, it's really nasty because you got mosquito, weeds,
Yeah.
mattress, everything on there, and if somebody gets it, then you can get it cooked.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Salute.
roll call.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem DeSantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya, Commissioner Ganova,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias.
Yes.
Come off your mics, please.
Push the record on.